The Creation of All, Chapter 5. I can't believe he treated me that way. How unprofessional. I can't believe I used to date him. I check my forehead where that glass hit me to find that I am bleeding now. That's it. I'm not waiting anymore. I'm setting my plan for Udo's ultimate humiliation into motion. I am on my way to speak with Pobata, the council member in charge of law and all judicial matters. I had spoken with him earlier about the fate of the two that intruded on the Mangle project. They got close to Udo's weapon, so I can use them. I need Pobata to hand them over to me. I can't wait any longer for his decision. I take the elevator to floor 996, Pobata's floor. Stepping out of the elevator, I see the clerks running around, talking and worrying about all the work they have to do. This floor tends to be busy around the clock here, but I won't let them get in my way. I hurry down the halls, shoving down anyone who steps into my path. I step over them, stomping on their papers, comm devices, DCMDs, and anything else I cause them to drop on the floor. I continue making things harder for these clerks as I make my way through the labyrinth of halls and workstations, knocking stacks of files out of people's hands, telling them to watch it, reminding them who I am. I finally arrive at Pobata's office. His secretary doesn't have time to react to me before I storm in.
Who in the... Oh, Soisei. Are you here for that request?
Pobata asks, quickly glancing up from his pile of endless work. His office is 10,000 square feet, less than half the size of Udoma's. His office's floor, walls, and ceiling are made from a black crystal-like material that have dark blue speckles in them. The room is round and his desk is near the end. The desk is made of blue wood, a rare tree from Saiton's largest jungle. The desk is 30 feet wide and curves with the room. It has dozens of monitors being projected a few inches above it, all with Pobata's various tasks. Around each monitor is a small mountain of paper. People in work situations like this have to move their chair back and forth along the desk to each monitor, as they have to juggle several jobs at once. Yes, and I need an answer now. I refuse to waste any more time waiting. I'm busy and I need an answer now, I demand, as all he really has to do is sign his name on the paper. Pobata, having such a pale yellow skin, a face that always looks tired, and thin, dry hair makes him look so pathetic and easy to push around. I often find myself forgetting that he holds a position of power.
Busy, you say?
He says, and I can see the mountains of files on either side of him. Amongst the piles are 3 clerks going through them, helping him to review and fill them out. Pobata only oversees major legal issues, and there is a never-ending flow of them. He seriously has one of the worst jobs possible, but he chose the council position knowing that what he would be in for. Give me what I want, or else I'll be here, bothering you, I say, slamming my hands on his desk, causing the papers to fall down, almost completely burying us.
Fine,
Pobata shouts before hitting buttons on his DCMD, and the desk prints the paper. He slams it on the desk and signs it.
There, now punishing the 2 criminals known as Tefano and Achime is your responsibility.
I take the paper. So much to do now. I pull out my comm device to message the holding cells.
You know, I was just about to send this to you. Udoma came here to push it through personally. He left 2 minutes before you walked in.
I stop the moment I hear him say that. What? Udoma came here for my request? That's really strange. Why would our nation's leader take interest in what I'm doing?
I was hoping you could tell me why your request caught his attention.
Well, there can only be one answer to that. He knows my work is superior to Udo's. He wants me to destroy his malfunctioning embarrassment for the sake of Saiton's image. I'm about to leave with the biggest smile I've ever had on my face. Udoma has become the greatest leader in the history of our nation. He always makes every right decision and is never wrong. This just proves that I'm right.
You wrote down that you want to use them to help your most recent weapon hunt down Udo's and destroy it. Udoma taking an interest, I think, means he's expecting some real results from you. I'd be panicking over the pressure if I were you. I mean, if your punishment doesn't cause them more than the adequate amount of suffering, it'll look as if we're showing leniency, and you'll be penalized. That's why despite your high position, we'll still be sending an inspector to check on the status of your method in 2 weeks. Don't worry, I'll be sure these 2 both suffer greatly, and that I'll get what I want. Oh, really now?
Pobata says, actually raising his eyes from his work.
Do you think it'll be good enough to be broadcast on Moidaba?
That's the show hosted by the movie star Moidaba. He showcases examples of excellence from the Saitan people. Anytime someone does something amazing, Moidaba interviews them and it's shown to the whole nation. I hadn't really thought about that. It just might, I say with a smile.
You know you're bleeding,
Pobata says as I leave his office. I unfortunately bump into and trip over an office worker passing by, but even that doesn't stop me from smiling. I hurry back to the elevator. I'm so eager that as soon as I find a quiet place, I make the call to the prison center to make my request, inserting my clear card into the DCMD to get my request registered. The two will soon be delivered to my lab under escort before being left entirely in my care. I return to my lab to wait for their arrival. Going inside, I see my staff conducting and working on all my other ongoing experiments, but all my focus remains on Greta, as she's caused me to lose all interest in my other works. Everyone put everything you're doing on hold and take the rest of the day off. Jogata, you stay here. Jogata is my personal assistant. He notices that I have been bleeding from my forehead.
Ma'am, what happened? Were you attacked?
He has genuine concern, and I've always appreciated his true dedication to his job. It is also the assistant's job to be bodyguards, to lay down their life if need be. When Jogata sees that I was injured, he takes it very seriously. I brush him away. Now isn't the time for his overconcern of me. Calm down, Jogata. I'm fine, everything's fine, and soon it'll be extraordinary. I got approval to move the plan forward.
Which plan, ma'am?
The most important one of all. Soon Greta will show the world my superiority.
That's amazing, ma'am. You were able to get the go-ahead to take custody of two such high-profile criminals?
Yes, thankfully. The plan can't be done without them. Get things ready. Our guests are on their way.
You're having them brought here, to your lab? How can you allow them to set foot here? It's disrespectful.
I can hear the displeasure in his voice. My lab is like the other normal labs in this department. Udo has the bigger one. I can only work on 3 different projects at a time in the lab area. On the right side is the meeting room, and the left is the kitchen and restrooms. No worries. It's not like they'll be leaving here with smiles. They're going to have a very hard time ahead of them. Now prepare some refreshments for them. I like to start things off with some civility. After 40 minutes of waiting anxiously, they finally arrive. Jogata, get the door! I almost jump out of my skin with excitement. He opens the door, and 4 soldiers enter with my guests, the terrorists charged with attacking Saitan personnel, trespassing on a Saitan operation, and suspected of working with the Phantom Nation, Tefano and Achime. Finally, you've arrived. Please, take a seat. I gestured for them to sit at the conference table. Thank you for your help. You may remove their restraints before leaving. I say to the soldiers, gesturing for them to go.
Are you sure? Ma'am, one of these criminals is dangerous.
One of the soldiers says in protest. It will be fine. You needn't worry. We are completely safe. The soldiers, unsure but not able to refuse my command, do as they're told and take their leave. There, now isn't that more comfortable? Let's get down to business. I have an important matter I need to discuss with you two. I graciously offer them some Ferramore, the finest, most relaxing drink one criminal can offer another, as well as some bachins of high-quality food here in Saitan.
Sorry, old lady, but the only thing happening here is our escape,
Tefano says before he reaches out to attack me. But from the shadows in the back of the room, Greta strikes, whipping a long appendage clear across the room at a speed too high for Tefano to even notice. He's struck in the side of the head and sent spinning to the floor. Greta retracts that whip-like appendage back into her body and remains silent, motionless, and obedient. Please trust me when I say you have no choice but to sit and listen. Jogata helps Tefano back into his seat, while Achime trembles in her chair. Jogata then serves them. Achime even thanks him, despite her voice shaking. She's still the more polite one. I might actually feel bad for what I'm going to put her through.
So why are we here?
Tefano shouts, throwing his cup and plate to the floor. Tefano, don't break her stuff. Achime timidly whispers to him. She might be wanting to help us.
Achime, people who work in the Origin Tower only care about helping Saitan. Her helping us makes no sense.
I'm going to be letting you go. The two of them just stare at me in silence, eyes wide, mouths hanging open. I am Soisei, the second highest regarded scientist and developer of Saitan's FBWs. I have taken over your punishment for your heinous crimes, and I will be letting you go.
And what's the catch? I know you're not going to simply let us leave,
Tefano says, and I am just enjoying this moment. You're right, and wrong. There are many catches. First off, I'm only letting one of you go. The other will be held prisoner and subjected to all sorts of pain the longer the other takes to complete a simple task.
Hachime, move! We have to get out of here!
With one swing of his arm, Tefano flings the tray of refreshments Jogata is holding at me. Every single item and drop of drink are caught by Greta in her multiple arms. She's also able to grab the two criminals and slam them against the floor. You two need to relax and listen. Right now, Udo is number 1, but his latest creation is out there, out of control. It's become classified as a failure due to having faulty controllers or lacking any at all.
What does this have to do with us?
Tefano shouts. I can tell he's upset being pinned to the floor, so I might as well fix that. You two had recent contact with Udo's weapon. I'm talking about the one with red hair and gray skin. I can tell Tefano has a grudge against it, as I can see an expression of true anger form on his face. You see, I have great ambitions to become the very best in my field of all time. For me to do that, I need to prove it. I need to show the world that my latest creation is superior to Udo's by destroying it.
So why do you need us?
Tefano asks, and I wave a hand to Greta, signaling to let these two up. Because you had contact with it, didn't you? He just nods in response, and that's all I needed. Greta, come. With that, my weapon Greta moves out from the shadows and walks up to us.
What is that?
Hachime says, completely confused. I'm sure neither of you have seen one of these before. This is a female human in the prime of her life. The thick metal collar is something I made so that she may understand us.
What did you do to her? I haven't seen many humans, but none of them look like that.
Tefano says with sheer disgust, probably due to Greta being very overweight. But that's one of the reasons I chose her for my magnum opus. You can't see any of the changes I made. This is her normal appearance. If you want to see the changes I made, I raise a finger and point to Tefano. Greta walks over to him, and as she does, her nose transforms into that of a combination of noses of the animals with the best sense of smell. Jerks, corvies, and ipsums. She sniffs him up and down Tefano's body. She then nods, letting me know she's found it. She has the scent. Best not to delay any further. I'll escort you two to the city limits. You'll return to Turdrum and pick up the trail of Udo's weapon. I shout with excitement, jumping out of my chair. I snap my fingers and point to Hachime. Greta then transforms her right arm to that of a Jorgen, which have long, ropey arms, and her hand turns into the hand of a Barg, and she increases its size so that she can grab Hachime's entire body.
Hey, what are you doing?
Tefano shouts, and he still sounds like he's in any position to protest anything I do. Have you already forgotten what I said? I've already started the timer. I snap my fingers at Greta. She turns her left arm into an armor-plated arm of a Gorod and reaches over to Hachime's right hand and quickly bends her pinky back until we all hear it snap.
Ah!
Hachime screams in pain.
Hachime!
Tefano shouts as he charges towards Greta. She knocks him down by swinging her giant Barg hand at him. Now, the more you resist and waste time, the more she'll suffer. You'll both be better off just cooperating. Once I get what I want, I'll let the two of you go free.
Just do it, Tefano. I'll get through this, don't worry.
Hachime screams through the pain.
Fine, let's go already.
Tefano angrily grumbles. That's the spirit. Greta slams Hachime into a seeping chamber. These are meant to give human flesh time to absorb mutating chemicals, but for now it'll work as a temporary prison for her. Jogata straps a camera around Tefano's head and tightens it in place. The camera goes over his right eye. There. Now everything you see will be recorded. All you have to do is capture the moment Greta destroys Udo's weapon. Do that and this will all be over. Fail me and you two will die. Tefano just glares at me without responding, but that's okay. He doesn't need to. It's not like he has a choice. Jogata, stay here and watch her. I'll see these two off on their journey.
Yes, ma'am.
Jogata says as the three of us are about to step into the hall.
Hachime, I'll save you!
Tefano shouts to her.
I love you.
She shouts back, barely able to be heard through the glass. Yes, you two love each other. Very nice. Greta pulls Tefano into the hall, and the door closes behind us. As we walk, I feel it be best to share Tefano important information about Greta. You see, Greta can absorb the DNA of any animal on Mectra. She can't absorb criminal DNA, as we're too complex. That's the point of using humans. If we could modify our DNA without disastrous side effects, we would. You know that.
Greta can change any part of her into any part of any animal she's absorbed. She can also combine those traits to form new types of body parts. Her potential is truly limitless. See, that's the beauty of her. I go on explaining more to Tefano, mostly because I love to brag and hate moments of silence. We soon arrive at the B3 garage where my craft is parked, and we all get in. I enjoyed the looks of people gave Greta as we walked by. If they think she's impressive now, wait till they see her in action. This might come as a shock to you, but I was the first to not use controllers in an FBW. This catches Stefano's attention, as I feel he wasn't properly listening to me. Yes, Greta's mind is as free as it's always been. Now, why do you think an expert like me would do this? Stefano doesn't seem to want to talk to me, but that's fine. It's because I created a bond between the two of us. When I went to pick the human for my prototype, there she was, standing right up against the glass, her face showing no fear, while all the other humans cowered in the corners. She was clearly a standout. I've always known that the only remaining flaw with FBWs is that they need an escort to tell them what to do. Their brains can react better in situations than a computer one, but needing to be supervised and guided constantly handicaps them. We need FBWs that are free and want to obey us. Greta is the first of many. I never thought you slimy Seitan people had the ability to care for outsiders, let alone humans who you view as livestock, Tefano says, insulting my people, and Greta responds properly by stretching her neck out and biting him on his right forearm with the jaw of a giant Riado. He screams in pain, and Greta digs her teeth in for a solid 20 seconds before letting him go. I could see she almost tore off some of his flesh. See that? Even though you defend humans, Greta still sides with me of her own volition. I created that translator so the two of us could get to know each other. It was all part of this new weapon development. Greta doesn't care much for her own kind, so she's happy to serve Seitan. Once everyone sees how much of a success Greta is, we'll start doing proper screenings of the humans we use and do it all with my translator.
Even if that happens, I swear you won't be around to enjoy it,
Stefano says in such a defiant manner. Greta lets out an animal-like roar, ready to teach him some more manners, but I raise a hand, signaling her to stop. I'll let that one slide. If you get any more injured, it'll affect your job performance. We arrive at the executive gate, the one only used by elite members of government to come and go into the capital city by hovercraft. This entrance is the most guarded and well decorated with fine statues and landscaping. All right, this is it. Listen, Greta isn't too familiar with Mectra geography, so you'll have to guide her back to Turdrum where she can pick up that weapon's scent.
There's nothing here. You expect us to walk the whole way? Aren't you giving us a vehicle?
Stefano asks as this whole thing has left him understandably upset. Why bother? Greta needs more experience with her body. Show him, Greta. With that said, Greta's body begins to change its shape completely. She removes the flesh from her limbs. The bones turn to wheels. Her translator and clothes are engulfed into her body. I still can't believe Udo made such a fuss over getting gel clothing for that one weapon. 2 large vents form on her back as Type 1 fire roars out of them. She's mixing the chemicals inside her own body, the ones created by hogreels and yids, to create a propellant that'll get her moving. Once done, her body resembles a primitive ground vehicle, the kind we had before hover technology was invented. Go ahead, get on, I say to Tefano, urging him as he seems reluctant. You best hurry. The longer you take, the madder you'll make me, and if you care about Achime, you won't want to make me mad. With an angry growl, Tefano climbs onto her back. Greta, I know you're the best, and it's not just because of the powers I've given you. You stand above the other humans all on your own. I know I can depend on you to come through for me. Greta sheds a tear from one of her eyes before she starts spinning her wheels and is off. Within moments, they're out of sight. With that dealt with, I turn to head back to my lab. I have to make sure Achime is kept secured and get back to work on my other assignments, even if I don't want to. I'm finding it so hard to contain my excitement. Despite my age, I just want to jump and bounce off the walls and as I wait for the results. Once Greta succeeds, the public will demand my promotion. Once they see my victory over Udo, my name will eclipse his in the pages of history. He'll be completely forgotten, and my name will live on forever. Chapter 5. End.